The human warrior was promised an animal, but a beautiful alien woman was waiting for him in his room. Captain Elias Rowe stood silently inside the wide hall of the Cathari Alliance, his hands resting calmly behind his back. The ceiling above him curved like the inside of a giant shell, glowing with soft blue light. Tall alien leaders sat in a half-circle, their bodies different in shape and color, but their eyes all focused on him. Humans were still new to this part of the galaxy, but their reputation had spread quickly. They were called Deathworlders, beings born on a harsh planet with storms, predators, and constant danger. Many alien species believed humans survived not because they were kind, but because they were relentless. Elias had heard the whispers, seen the cautious looks, and accepted them without complaint. What mattered was that the mission was over. The border crisis that had threatened 3 systems had ended peacefully. Elias had led a small mixed-unit team through weeks of negotiation, endurance marches, and careful defense. He had refused unnecessary force, protected civilians of multiple species, and held the line until talks succeeded. Now, the Cathari Alliance wished to reward him. The tallest council member leaned forward, its long neck folding slightly. "Captain Elias Rowe of Earth," the alien said through a translator field. "By ancient custom, a warrior who defends the Alliance is granted a bonded companion, a being of strength and loyalty. Your reward awaits you." He assumed a bonded companion meant a trained creature, perhaps something like a guard animal or ceremonial beast. He accepted the escort without hesitation. 2 Cathari guards led him through quiet corridors, their steps clicking softly against the smooth floor. The building was calm now, far from the crowded hall. As they walked, Elias noticed how clean and controlled everything felt. No clutter, no noise, no unpredictability, very different from Earth. They stopped before a private chamber door made of dark crystal-like metal. "Your reward is inside," one guard said evenly. Elias placed his palm against the door panel. It slid open with a gentle sound. He stepped inside and stopped. The room was softly lit, warmer than the halls outside. A table stood near the center, prepared with food and drink. Along the far wall was a wide sleeping platform, neatly arranged. Standing beside it was a woman. She was not human, but close enough that Elias recognized her intelligence instantly. She stood upright, her posture careful and controlled. Her skin shimmered faintly with soft silver tones, and her eyes, large and reflective, watched him with visible nervousness. She wore simple clothing, loose and modest, and her hands were folded in front of her. She bowed her head slightly. "Greetings, honored warrior," she said quietly. "I am Lurie." Reward. He took a careful step forward, keeping his hands visible and his posture relaxed. "Hello," he said gently. "I'm Elias. You don't need to bow. I was instructed to show respect." "Something was very wrong. I was told I would receive a bonded animal," Elias said carefully. "Can you explain why you're here?" "We are prepared to serve. I was told I would be given to a warrior who earned honor." His boots made quiet sounds against the floor. "This is a mistake," he said under his breath. Lurie tilted her head. "Have I displeased you?" "You haven't done anything wrong. But that is the custom. You're not in trouble." "Because where I come from," he said, "people choose their lives. They are not given away." Outside, the Alliance believed the reward had been delivered. Inside, a human warrior faced a truth he could not ignore. Elias stood up suddenly. "I'm reporting this. This ends now. I require an immediate audience with the Council. There has been a serious cultural violation. No matter what happens next." And somewhere deep within the Alliance walls, a tradition older than empires had just begun to crack. Captain Elias Rowe stood alone in the center of the wide circular room. The soft blue light above now seemed sharper, almost distant. Around him, the alien council members sat in silence, their faces hard to read. Some shifted slightly. Others remained completely still. Lurie was not allowed inside. She waited in the chamber Elias had left her in, seated quietly, her hands folded just as she had been trained. But something inside her felt different now. The human's words echoed in her thoughts. "You're safe." No one had ever said that to her before. Inside the council chamber, the tallest Cathari counselor finally spoke. "Captain Rowe," the translator field carried the voice smoothly, "you requested an emergency audience. State the reason." "That is unacceptable. One reserved for heroes. Not people. Not owning them. Lurie's kind is raised for this role. They are honored to serve. That means our values matter too. She should be free." Elias waited, hands behind his back, his posture steady. Meanwhile, Lurie sat alone in the chamber, staring at the door. Her thoughts were restless. She had been taught her entire life that bonded companions existed to serve, that their purpose was fixed. That honor came from obedience, but the human had broken that understanding with simple actions. He had asked her to sit. He had listened. He had looked angry not at her but for her. A guard appeared at the doorway. "You are to remain here," it said. Lurie nodded automatically. But inside something stirred. Time passed slowly. Back in the council chamber, the tall counselor finally raised a hand. "Captain Rowe," it said, "you challenge tradition older than our alliance. But some traditions should be challenged." "Not ever. But until a decision is made, Lurie stays under my protection." "Are you in trouble?" she asked softly. "No," Elias said, "not yet." "There's a difference." Each request confused the alliance staff. "She does not require these," one official said. "She does," Elias replied simply. "She's a person." She noticed how he waited for responses, how he explained instead of ordering. One cycle, she finally asked, "Why do you do this?" "Because if I don't, nothing changes." For the first time, her future felt uncertain, not fixed by assignment or duty. The uncertainty frightened her, but it also felt light. Across the alliance, rumors spread quickly. A human warrior had rejected a sacred reward. He had spoken against tradition without anger. He had demanded freedom for someone who had never been given a voice. Some species called it weakness. Others called it courage. And for Lurie, sitting quietly in a room that was no longer a cage, it was something else entirely. It was the first time the galaxy felt wide. And somewhere beyond the council walls, a question began to grow, one no tradition could silence forever. What if the humans were right? But this time, the silence felt different. Representatives from many allied species filled the curved seats, their colors, shapes, and movements showing quiet tension. Word had spread fast across the alliance. A human had challenged one of the oldest shared traditions. Some saw it as an insult. Others saw it as a moment of truth. Captain Elias Rowe stood at the center once more. He looked calm, but his mind was sharp and focused. He knew this meeting was not only about Lurie anymore. It was about what kind of alliance this galaxy wanted to be. Lurie waited outside the chamber, guarded but not confined. She sat near a wide window that showed the stars drifting slowly past. She watched them and wondered for the first time where she might go one day. The tall Cathari counselor spoke first. "Captain Rowe," it said, "your actions have caused widespread debate. Some species feel your demands threaten cultural balance." Another counselor leaned forward. "You speak boldly for one so new to the alliance." "That's growth. It means they were never given the chance to say no." "You are restless," it observed. "I am thinking," Lurie replied. The guard said nothing more. Back inside, a council member from another species spoke up. Its voice was calm but uncertain. "Captain Rowe, if this system ends, many will be without purpose. Their lives are built around service." One of them asked, "And what if they choose to leave?" "We have reviewed the data on human history," it said. "Your species once practiced similar ownership structures." and some refused to stay silent, even when it cost them. Lurie stepped inside, her heart racing. This was the largest gathering of leaders she had ever seen. She felt small, exposed. Elias turned toward her, his expression steady and encouraging. She walked to stand beside him. "Lurie," the counselor said, "you have been raised in service. Do you accept this role?" At the watching eyes of a galaxy, "I was taught that acceptance was my honor," she said slowly. "That asking questions was failure." "I do not know what I want yet," Lurie admitted. "But I know this: if I stay, I want it to be my choice." The tall counselor spoke again. "And if freedom brings uncertainty?" The chamber doors closed, leaving Elias and Lurie alone in the wide hall. "You did great," Elias said quietly. "I was terrified," Lurie replied. "Courage usually feels like that," he said. Time passed slowly. When the council returned, the tall counselor spoke with a different tone, less rigid, more careful. "The bonded companion system will be suspended," it announced. "Those within it will be given status reviews and choice." "This decision will not be easy," the counselor continued, "but the alliance must evolve if it is to endure. Humanity's values will be recorded as a guiding principle. You just helped change a system bigger than both of us." And that scared her, but it also felt like freedom. As news spread across the alliance, reactions were mixed. Some praised the decision, others resisted it, but one thing was clear: the human warrior had not taken a reward. He had given the galaxy a question it could never unask. And change, once started, could not be contained.